What's going on, guys? Mr. Dickin here, and this is going to be our third video now in our adventures of learning transformations of parent functions. So what we're going to be doing today is kind of working backwards, where we're going to start with a graph and then create an equation based off of that graph. So just as a reminder, we talked about this previously. The order in which we want to take care of our transformations is first and foremost, if there's any reflections, handle those first. And then we get into stretches, compressions, and translations. So shifts up and down or left and right. Items 2 and 3, these are pretty interchangeable, but the reflections we certainly want to take care of first. All right, so let's kind of recap how we would graph different functions, that have been transformed. And then from there, we'll go backwards. We'll start with the graph, then create the function based on that. All right, so here on this first function, I've got negative 3 times the quantity x plus 2 cubed plus 1. So right now I'm seeing that cubed, so that tells me we're going to be dealing with a cubic function. That's kind of a gross graph. Let's see, a negative out front, that's going to reflect it, so it's going to be upside down. So instead of what's written there in black, it'll look like one of those in red. Let's see, we have a 3 out front as the coefficient. So that means it's going to be stretched by a factor of 3. Then we have a plus 2, so that means it's going to go to the left, and then a plus 1, which is on the outside, so it's going to go up. Well, let's see how we did. Reflect over the x-axis, yep, got that. Stretch of 3, left 2, up 1. Awesome. So now as far as the graph is concerned, let me zoom in so you guys can see it here. You'll notice in blue, this is kind of like a progression thing. In blue, we have what the function would have originally looked like. Actually, let me back up even further. In red is the regular cubic. And then blue is after it got reflected. And then green is after we stretched it. So you'll notice this green dot is 3 times further away from the x-axis. Similarly, this green dot is 3 times further from the x-axis as the blue one. And then we took those and we shifted them left 2 and up 1 to get our graph in black. All right, next one. We have 1/2, so that's going to be a compression or a shrink, times x minus 1, so we're going to the right one, squared, it's going to be a parabola, minus 1 on the outside, it got shifted down 1. So a shrink or compression of 1/2, so it's going to be 1/2 as tall. Right 1, down 1, and we know the shape of this thing is going to be a quadratic. It's a parabola. So just like before, if I look at my original function in red here, we would go up 1 over 1, up 3 over 1. So that would be the original quadratic. But then it got compressed by a factor of 1/2. So you'll notice this blue dot is half the height of the red dot. So then we have the blue graph that got shifted to the right 1, down 1. So all of these points went right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1. And then we get our graph in green. All right, number 5. We have the absolute value of negative x plus 3. So we have a reflection due to the negative sign, and then plus 3 means it goes up 1. One thing to keep in mind with this reflection, if we have a V shape, and it got reflected over the y-axis, so horizontally, it's still going to make a V shape. We're not going to know. So that reflection will not really manifest in the graph. So really we just have to worry about the up 3 aspect here. All right, and last one. We have 2 times the square root of x plus 1 minus 3. So those values highlighted there are going to control certain facets of the graph. The 2 is going to be a stretch factor. We have an x plus 1, so we're going left 1. And then a minus 3 on the outside, so we're going down 3. And this is a square root function, so it should be that shape. And it didn't get flipped at all because I didn't see any negatives. So we have a stretch, left 1, down 3. And then when we take a look at the graph, you can see the transformations that have taken place. Again, we start off in red, following that 1, 3, 5 pattern. And then the blue is after it got stretched by a factor of 2, so those blue dots are twice as high as the red dots. And then we took that whole blue graph and we shifted it left 1, down 3 to get our final answer in green. All right, so now let's go backwards. We want to write the equations of functions. All right, so if you need to pause it to kind of digest the graph, go for it. I'm noticing right out the gate on number 1, it's a quadratic because it created a parabola. So I know it's going to have an x squared. I'm noticing also that the vertex is normally here at 0, 0, but this one's all the way down at -2, -4. So it went to the left and it went down. It went left 2 and it went down 4. And then lastly, I'm noticing from the vertex to that first coordinate outwards, we just went up 1 over 1 and then up 3 over 1. So there's really no stretch that takes place. So I don't have to worry about that. Well, that gives me all the information I need to now write my equation. We're going to have x plus 2, quantity squared, minus 4. Sorry, f of x equals. And then we'd be done. Number 2, let's see, I'm looking at it. It looks like an absolute value shape. So I know it's going to have an absolute value. There might be some stuff inside those absolute values. It's been flipped upside down, so I know there's got to be a negative. And this vertex is normally at 0, 0, but we went left 1 and up 3, so it's going to have to be showcased in our function. And you'll notice we have a plus 1 inside and a plus 3, and that represents going left 1 and up 3, and we had the negative sign out front, signaling that it was upside down. Onward we go. All right, number 3. Let's see, just looking at the shape, it's a cubic function, so I'm expecting an x to the third. Let's see, this inflection point here is normally at 0, 0, but it went to the right 3 and up 2. So we went to the right 3, and then we went up 2. So that tells me we should have a minus 3 in parentheses and then a plus 2 on the outside. And then to get our next point here, we go up 1 over 1, so there's really not been a stretch or a compression at all. So there's not going to be a coefficient in front of the x cubed. And there we have it. All right, next one, number 4. Just the shape of this tells me we're dealing with a radical function, so I know it's going to be square root of x. However, the square root of x's normally go this way. So my graph is kind of backwards, which then indicates that there's probably a negative sign that I have to deal with. And I know it's going to be a negative sign inside, not outside, because we reflected over the y-axis. It didn't get flipped upside down. It got a left and right flip. So that's why the negative goes inside. If the graph got flipped upside down and was kind of going along here, then the negative would go outside the function. Let's see, our vertex normally starts off at 0, 0. It didn't go left and right at all, but it did go up 2. So I'll have to have a plus 2 there. And it follows the 1, 3, 5 pattern, so there hasn't been any stretch or compression. No need for a coefficient. There's our function. All right, 5 and 6. I'll just kind of reveal the answers on these because now we're going to be following the same logic that we had before. On number 6, this is kind of what I was talking about with number 4 prior. The negative's on the outside because now we have a graph that's going upside down. So the negative's on the outside as opposed to going to the left, in which case the negative would be on the inside. All right, 7 and 8, this is where we kind of get a little dicey. So this is when stretches and compressions will start to manifest here. On number 7, just by the shape, I know it's going to be an absolute value. But absolute value graphs, they normally go up 1 and over 1. So if that was the case here, I should expect to see points like this in green. But clearly that's not the case. What's happened is each one of these points has been shifted down by a factor of 1/2. Right? This blue dot, the actual dot of the function, is half as high as it should be based from our vertex value. So we're going to have a compression value of 1/2 as a coefficient in front of my entire graph. So there you can see our function value has a 1/2 absolute value of x, and then plus 2 just means we shifted up 2 units. All right, and then number 8, this will be our last one. Number 8, we have to kind of be careful here because I'm noticing the axis is pretty spread out, pretty stretched out, so just making sure we're counting properly. Normally, with a quadratic, and this is a quadratic because it's a parabola, normally from our vertex, we would go up 1 over 1 to get our next point. So normally it would go here. And then from there we'd go up 3 over 1 to get our next point. So this in green is what a normal quadratic would look like. The actual graph has been stretched, so it's like someone grabbed the top parts here and pulled upwards. So it's taller and skinnier. So what I need to look for now is where is my up how many over 1 value. So as I go over 1, it goes all the way up to 3. Same thing over here. So we went up 3 over 1 to the next point. Now if I think back to the 1, 3, 5 pattern, we could almost consider this an iteration of that as 3, 9, 15, because really I just took all these numbers and tripled them, right? So if I had more graph here, after I have this point, I could go up 9 over 1 to get my next value there. But clearly we have some sort of a stretch factor, and that's where this coefficient of 3 comes from. All right, that is it. That is all, folks. You guys know the drill. You've heard it countless times. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know. Reach out via email, contact me somehow, get in touch through Zoom or in class, whatever. And as always, folks, good luck, have fun, be safe, roll tide.